Hello there, I'm Claudia Lash, and I make quilts and then I write patterns for them. And I take my quilts to quilt shows and sell the patterns. One of my most favorite, or the biggest sellers last year was the quilt that I'm going to show you today. This is called Ferris wheel flowers. Here is a Ferris wheel flower quilt, all done. The Ferris wheel flowers are wall quilts that are made using a wedge ruler. So you have to piece these big flowers with a wedge ruler, and you need to have a 22.5 degree triangle wedge. You can't use a 10 degree or a different degree ruler. You have to use 22.5. And you piece the flowers together, and then you cut them out and basically applicate them onto the background. And they're just big and showy and colorful and lots of fun. I teach this class, and it's a full day, but there's a lot of techniques. One of them is making the flowers. Another one is making these leaves. The leaves are made with foundation paper piecing, and I like to do that with freezer paper, so I also teach that in the class. On this Ferris wheel flower quilt and on the one right there, I used stems that were done with, I think that's on one fabric, yes, but making those long stems that you have to cut on the bias and use either I like to use a little bias maker with by Clover. So those I did with the stem maker, and I usually cover that in the class too. After you get the quilt done, then you can add buttons and beads, and this quilt has some very old buttons that we have to kind of worry about when we're at shows because they have a tendency to get dried out, and but I love it nonetheless. This was the first one. Well, almost the first one. The first one I've lost somewhere. I don't know where the first one is, but this is the main one. This one, I found some neat coffee fabric in a quilt shop, and for some reason that inspired me to make flowers with coffee fabric in the background. There's a butterfly up on top, which just applique on at the end. Just a different little color scheme. Over here, I have, this is Ferris wheel fireworks, because I thought maybe some people didn't want to make flowers. Maybe they would rather make fireworks and not have to worry about the leaves. And again, this time, notice the stems are rickrack, white rickrack. So then you don't have to worry about putting any leaves on. The main thing on making these quilts is you have to use the same background fabric as you piece each of your flowers or fireworks, so that when you applique them down, it makes sense and it looks right. Finally, this is one of my newer fireworks flowers, and it's made with a stripe fabric. And I just think that's a great way to do it. I had somebody ask me once if I pieced all those little petals together. No, I just cut them from a stripe fabric. So there you go, another great idea. And this time I used a rickrack. Rickrack is a little bit easier than making this other stems. So these quilts finish at each one, I think they're about 33 or 34 inches. They're not big, they're made for the wall. And they gave me another place to do a little bit of embellishing with beads. I love beads. I love to put buttons and beads on most of my wall quilts. The pattern is available on my website, and I guess that's all I can tell you about Ferris wheel flowers. Thanks for watching.